All right, so let's get them counted down. It's a best of 5. Sodium versus Iball. Let's go in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. All right, so Sodium is here, one of our top seeds in the tournament. Iball, another top seed in the tournament, meeting here in the semifinals. The winner will play Tristop, who's sitting, watching, waiting, scheming, maybe. Are you scheming, Tristop? He's scheming a little bit. He is scheming. He always looks like he's scheming. But Sodium officially from the Isle of Man, not from the U.S., so actually it's okay. And Iball from the Vancouver area. Both players starting out with a couple of Tetrises. And Sodium, Iball, the final hope here for Canada in CTWC Montreal. Tetris, Sodium, 91,000. Iball, 70,000. He's going to get a dirty triple to uncover substantially that right side. Now he can access it. He's got a Tetris waiting. And he can't find a bar, though. Neither player can. And he's going to kind of stash that O to the left. And that's not actually as bad as it looks because you got plenty of options to try to fill it out over on the left. But eventually you would like a bar, I am sure. And the game, this is a very droughty piece sequence here. And I haven't seen a bar in a long time. Finally uncovers and gets a bar. Iball. And Sodium, maybe with a little foreknowledge, knew that bar was coming. So 130 for Sodium, 153 for Iball. So yeah, that was a crazy drought. So I'm sure someone on Twitch will count that drought. There's a Tetris, Sodium, 176. Iball still not really out of the woods yet. Has 4 lines of material on top of that well. That will need to be burned away before he can start Tetrising again, and it is. But he's going to go to work maybe on covering that gap that's there in column 4. And trying to put his few... Oh, no, an Iball going to top out at 161. And Sodium is good in game number 1. So that drought really messing with the players' boards and their plans, and it just kind of, I think it maybe gets in your head a little bit. Let's go in 3, 2, 1, Tetris.
Let's go Iball. Let's go Iball. Let's go Sodium. Let's go Sodium.
All right, so Iball trying to survive a couple of early misdrops here with some kind of spin tuck acrobatics at the bottom of his stack over there in columns 8, 9, and 10. He's going to convert that into his first Tetris. All right, trying to find some burns here that's going to leave him a Tetris well, and he finally does. I would like a bar here to just kind of bring this down and allow him to level out this stack. Sodium, 70,000, 48 here for Iball. Iball gets set up with a skim of that T and gets a Tetris for 72. All right, Sodium sets up with that long bar in column 9. Iball trying to find something T-shaped there. That'll be close enough, and he'll get set up for the Tetris. Oh, a nice spin there for Iball. It's going to leave a little Mino over there on that right side, though, so he's going to have to do a little extra work to get Tetris ready, and he is. And the bar comes, and he gets that Tetris. So 142 for Iball, 121 for Sodium. Someone said the crowd is adorable. That's what they said on Twitch. They all think you're adorable. I know. Well, that's Canadians for you. They're just a nice, cuddly, friendly people. 142 Iball, 147 for Sodium. An Iball kind of up near the top of the stack. A very useful L piece to that left. And just one more piece away from uncovering here. Is uncovered. Long bar over. And he does have another Tetris buried there, but he does have a gap in the stack that he will have to contend with eventually. And he's going to do that right now with a triple. Not going to mess around with anything else. Just, you know what? I'm going to take the triple. I want to have a good board. You start to get too fancy, that stuff can kind of fester on you. And sometimes it's better to just take the triple, leave yourself a good board, and then get back to work. Tetris Sodium 240, 224 for Iball. Got that Z spin. A couple of those already. Sodium has played excellently throughout this tournament. Great, efficient play. Iball kind of, during this tournament, able to kind of ramp his aggression up and down. He is an aggressive player, generally speaking, but able to make the adjustments, especially in the most recent months here. He's made it back-to-back in the toughest online tournament in the last 2 months. Z that didn't quite land where he needed to, and now another Z spin. Oh, nice adjustments here. What's he going for here? No, he's gonna opt out. He's like, he had a thought, and he's like, maybe I'll just survive and not go down 2-0. So 302 here for Iball. He uncovers that right side. And he's going to be ready. Sodium, yeah, beautiful J piece to get Tetris ready. And now we're getting a little bit droughted. Iball just going to opt to take that triple. Safe strats here. And it's going to pay off with a Tetris. So he's down by about 2 Tetrises from Sodium. Oh, Sodium going to kind of pull back. Not sure if it was intentional or just kind of whatever, but it does leave him some gaps to deal with. And it's actually going to burn away fairly efficiently. Kind of left himself with some doable tucks there to get that Tetris. So not all that harmful. 448 Sodium, 379 Iball. Tetris down for Iball, 402. Still back by about 2 Tetrises. There's a Tetris Sodium. And another one, 494. So Iball trying to make something out of this. He's got a lot built up on the left side, but kind of janky, kind of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 column. And he's going to clean it up pretty efficiently and get Tetris ready. Oh, he's going to make an adjustment to accommodate that T-piece. And a Tetris for Iball, 451. So we're just about 20 lines away from the 19 transition. The speed will increase by 50%. And then that speed will last for 100 lines. Iball trying to fill out that left side. Wants to take a good board into 19. Nowadays, of course, that 19 is pretty reasonably handled by top players, but still, not a given. You can still present challenges. 521 for Iball, 547 Sodium. So you do want to take a good board into 19. And it looks like both players are going to be able to do that. And Sodium into 19 first at 595. And Iball will get in at 568. So in the end, a little over 1 Tetris lead for Sodium, despite all that burning and everything and kind of drama on Iball's side. He's not that far behind. He is ahead in the lines, right? So he has had more lines to get that score. And that's going to be a factor. Of course, when you play higher on the board, you're going to end up just getting more pieces naturally. So that is what accounts for that. So Sodium 694, Iball setting up in kind of a middle well there, column 7, and gets a Tetris 672. He's going to go to work trying to maybe clear away this right side, get Tetris ready again. And not a super accommodating board for Iball, but he does have a Tetris buried down there to help bring this stack back down. Tetris is valuable in 2 ways. 1, they're just a lot of points. 2, they clear a lot of crap off your board. So it's very handy to get one in certain situations. 737 for Iball, 756 for Sodium. All right, Tetris, another one. Sodium, 813 here on level 23. It's a very good pace. You expect to see, if these games get to 29, maybe 1.1s. But they got to get there. And Iball with some down stacking here to do 11 L or J, but ends up having a compromise and throw a Z down. And Sodium, meanwhile, just motoring along. 905 is now just about 80,000, 70,000 points ahead. But again, has lines in hand. And so kind of another misdrop here for Iball is going to complicate his situation and extend this dig. Tetris Sodium 970, 851 Iball. There's a Tetris for Iball, 887. That'll lower the board. Top of the board, not super accommodating, but he's working it out. Okay, adjustment there. He's going to uncover. He does have a Tetris there. He's going to get it. But again, more gaps to work out, 924. And he's keeping pace with Sodium despite all that. I mean, he's behind a bit, but he hasn't lost too much ground. So Sodium's got the max out here on 27 and another Tetris, so an A52. And this is how quickly fortunes can change. Now he's Iball's back by about 147,000 points. He's going to get a Tetris here. We're just about to head into 29. The speed is going to double. I mean, it's amazing to me this is playable with the speed doubling, but it is. And Iball trying to work this down. You've got to play very low on the board. You can't build up high like on those other levels. Sodium now kind of in danger here. 3 lines to go. And he's going to transition very high here. And let's see if he can open up that right. And he does. And he gets a Tetris B43. That's a 1.1 million. But he's not out of the woods yet. Iball with a great accommodating stack. And it's low, and he's set up for a Tetris and would like a quick bar and gets one. So A53, that's a max out of 1 million, and another one for both. So B96 Sodium, A94 for Iball. The A, B, C, A is 1 million, B is 1.1, and so on. And Sodium's board complicated, starting to climb and needs something for the left and able to get stuff over. Iball with a good low board, taking some nice burns here. Sodium's board starting to climb, and this does not look like it's going to end anywhere that he can do anything. And he's going to end with a CO9. CO9 is what Iball needs. And he's very close, just about 48,000. He gets a Tetris, and he's just 5,000 points away. CO9 is the target, and he can single and double this out, and Iball is going to get it. Count them down in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. That's fine. All right, so a really gutsy performance from Iball in game number 2. There were a lot of situations he just kind of found himself in and had to dig out of. And there were times I did not think he had any chance to survive, but somehow able to gut out a win in that game number 2. Both players playing extremely well. Sodium, again, this entire tournament has played exceptionally well. Marts is here. All right, Marts, hello. Good morning. Do you want me to turn on your mic?
Yeah.
Turn on your own mic. Just hit the button once. Boop.
Oh, yes. Okay, yeah. Hello. So, Vandy's just right. I'm very poor in math, so just need to have 2% on this one. So the third and fourth would be at 9%. So I think it's my son. Just say, hey, Dad, come on. You're bad at Tetris. You're bad at maths. So, okay.
Okay. So what is it really now? Oh, well, we'll figure it out later. We
9
got
and 9.
9 and 9.
Yes.
Oh, it wasn't 2% for me. That's what I thought we were doing there. All right. Darn. All right, thanks. Well, I don't think that's the final word on the math, to be honest. So why don't you come back with the third math update when we really got it? All right, so we are underway here, Sodium and Iball, in a very crucial game number 3. As we said before, game 3, always a pivotal game, regardless of the score. Certainly if you're up 2-0, yeah, it's an important game. But even 1-1 here is a big difference between being up 2-1 and being down 1-2. So both players really have a big interest in winning this one. 208 for Sodium, 188 for Iball. And Mart's doing a great job here with this tournament. Not so much with the arithmetic, but, with the things. So everybody give Mart's a big hand here. And Kane doing a great job. All right, we're 49 lines into this game number 3, 254 for Sodium, 234 for Iball. So just about a Tetris difference, a little less than that. And Iball with another Z spin. All right, long bar over Iball. And Tetris is for both, so they're just separated by about 3,000 points. Now they have the same exact lines here, so it's a 20,000 point difference with the exact same lines. So that gives you a sense of where they're at. All right, Iball bringing this down with a little burn here, trying to find something to burn this away. And Tetris will do that very nicely. 316 for him and another one. So 339. And Iball's a little bit ahead in this piece sequence. Anywhere between 1 and 9 lines ahead. All right, Tetris Sodium. And players around 400,000 through that 80 line milestone, which is what you want to see. All right, Iball trying to figure out the best way out of this. You know, a few lines of garbage above that gap here. Does have a Tetris there. It's going to pull back that square to make room for the J on the left side, but it's now covered and has gaps. All right, just a line away from, okay, there we go. Going to uncover that right side. Gets that Tetris down there now. It has gaps there in columns 3 and 4 on row 1. And we'll see how he's going to approach that. Some players like to just take the triple and then build on that for a while. And we'll see what Iball's going to do, if he's just going to continue to do that. It looks like that's his plan. Sometimes you'll see players just go at it and try to attack those gaps immediately, but Iball going to try to find an efficient way to do that as we approach level 19, which is coming in about 15 lines. 495 Iball, 527 for Sodium. All right, Iball's just going to attack those gaps right now, take care of it, and try to get a good clean board going into 19. All right, Tetris for Iball. He's just one Tetris away from the 19 transition. And Sodium with the 574 could potentially get 2 Tetrises. There's one of them. You know, he's at 596, and he's angling for another 600K transition. Iball is in. He's at 546. And Sodium setting up a nice tuck with that T to make room for that Z. That's a great little tuck there. And 620 now for Sodium. And he's about to exit level 19 just as quickly as he got into it, and now is into level 20 at 670, and Iball at 596, just about the same line count, and about an 80,000 point difference in favor of Sodium. Sodium with a little bit of uncovering to do. Iball able to maybe cut into this lead a little bit, just in virtue of being cleaner. He's having to take a couple skims here, and there's one long bar in. He's going to set up with that long bar in column 9. It's a DAS player that scares the heck out of me, but these players can handle it. Long bar over Tetris, Iball 703. And score-wise, it's pretty darn close, but Sodium does have lines in hand. He's about 11 lines. When their score is tied, he's about 11 lines behind. All right, Iball clean. Tetris, Sodium with a gap in the stack, and so that's going to have to be dealt with. And he's just going to go right after it. He's not going to build anything crazy on it. Iball now with a cover. Well, Tetris gets over 799. And he now has a score lead with another Tetris. But again, 12 lines ahead. So you got to factor that in, both as a viewer and a player. Tetris Iball, 859. And Sodium continues to dig. And so what was sort of like a, kind of real-time score lead for Iball and just a sort of a pace advantage for Sodium is now turning into a real lead for Iball despite the line difference. All right, Iball here trying to keep that well open here, ends up making a couple gaps here, but it's going to clear away with a couple of burns and a long bar in Tetris for Iball, 928. So 900 for Sodium, and Sodium's been kind of plopping in Tetris while Iball went through that little sequence. So it's kind of back closer to neck and neck anyway. Oh, nice adjustment for Sodium to make room for that long bar and get Tetris ready. He's at 933 through 203. A skim and a Tetris for Iball, 999. So just one line clear away from being a max out. There's the Tetris A33 Iball, A07 for Sodium. Another one for Iball. He's 11 lines ahead, A69 to A09. There's a Tetris Iball. He's got the 1.1, 2 lines away from the 29 transition. A critical game 3 for each of these players. And a Tetris into 29 for Iball at B42. So B42 transition for Iball. We'll keep that in mind as we watch Sodium transition. All right, there's a triple there for Iball just for stack safety. The left side of his board is a little bit jagged there. A92 for Sodium. So it is a better transition for Iball. Sodium kind of a misdrop here and working around it. He's at B31. Iball with the 1.2 million. And Sodium trying to work this stack back down to Tetris for Iball. C42. He's got a 100,000 point lead. And Sodium's board, his left side is going to be so difficult to access here. Can he bring this down? And the answer is no. And Sodium's going to top out, and Iball is good in game number 3. 3, 2, 1, Tetris. All right, so maybe the momentum starting to shift a little bit for Iball. Again, as I said, started out that game 1 of this match kind of wobbly, making some misdrops, having to recover, and gutted out a game 2 victory, but a very demonstrable victory here, or demonstrative. It is demonstrable because I can prove that it happened, but I mean demonstrative game 3 for Iball. And we'll see what Sodium needs to do to sort of recover this momentum. I mean, he played exceptionally well in all these games, but Iball somehow able to, through all that, and I mean, even a lot of digs in those other games too, but just able to maneuver around it and finds himself up 2-1. All right, Tetris Iball, 116, 114 for Sodium. All Tetris is on Sodium's side. I always hesitate to say that out loud because I think it influences the players who want to keep going to do that. But I think at this level, players know, like, yeah, I don't care about that. I want to win, especially with this prize pool, which everyone's been so generous to contribute. And on the subject of prize pool, if you do want to contribute, use the Matcherino command in chat. That'll bring up the link. That's on Twitch and YouTube. The biggest contributor today, so today's biggest contributor will get a custom cartridge that is signed by all the participants in this great event. And if we get to it, I've been told if we get to 6,000, which is ridiculous, but if we get to it, then I have to arm wrestle Agamescout. And I'm not ready to do that. I don't feel like I want to do that, but I will abide by it. I guess it's in my contract. I didn't sign a contract. I don't have to do that. All right. 251 here for Sodium. 231 for Iball. All right, 323 for Iball, 300 for Sodium. Right now, our most generous contributor was Jesus the Frog with $1,810 contribution to this prize pool. Really, really wants that cartridge. Scott Gray with the $1,000 contribution, amazing. And somehow K9 with a $500 contribution. Thought he was going to win that cartridge, but no shot at this point. All right, players tied right now, 373, 372. Although maybe not exactly a tie because they're closer in lines now, and Iball up by about a Tetris. Oh, it's Jesus. I'm sorry. I don't know. All right, 440. Oh, nice. 5 below there for Iball. That's and after that, though, it's a little bit of a disaster after that. So he's looking for that bar. He's going to have to go try to burn this down. Still low enough, not super complicated, but it will take some work, and this will allow Sodium to maybe establish a lead here, but Sodium not exactly ready for that. So Iball might be able to dig out of this just in time. But Sodium quickly starting to establish a well, and does, and now just waiting on the bar. No great place for that square, so he's just going to kind of spire it there and set up a tuck. Gets the long bar for the Tetris. And he's ahead by 5 lines. Iball now clean, Tetris over 476. So they are pretty darn close in score and lines. And now Sodium with a little bit of cleanup to do at the bottom is going to allow Iball, if he should get a bar at some point, maybe add to this or establish a lead. But Sodium set up 2 rows off the bottom, gets a dirty Tetris, column 10, 506 for him, 502 Iball, just about the same line count. So it is super neck and neck, and Iball having to take some burns on that right side. Did not have a lot of burns available after that for that left side, but was able to get pieces over to build all that out. Nice J piece to build out the rest of his stack, get Tetris ready. We're approaching 19. Iball 1 line away from 19 at 577. And he's going to get a Tetris into it. He's got a 601 transition. That's an excellent tournament pace. And Sodium with a 582. So the higher transition right now, Iball. This is getting tricky here. Okay, Iball having a combo out here, and it's kind of bar dependent. And this is really, really tough for Iball. We'll see what he's able to do. A bar will be very useful. Gets a triple here. Now it's a couple pieces away from digging this out. And now he's going to uncover that right side. Meanwhile, Sodium's board climbing, and I'm not sure what he can do. Can he bring this down? And the answer is no. And Iball is going to hang on to win and punch his ticket to the finals.